Hezbollah is a Shiite Muslim political party and militant group that is considered by the United States and European Union to be a terrorist organization. Hezbollah's stated objective is to destroy Israel and to create a fundamentalist Islamic state in Lebanon, and it receives significant support from Iran for its operations, often being described as ultimately a proxy force of the Islamic Republic. Hezbollah is also an ally of the Assad regime and has played a key role in the Syrian conflict. Hezbollah is the world's most heavily armed non-state actor, with a robust arsenal that is estimated to include more than 150,000 missiles and rockets. While the majority of Hezbollah's rocket force is made up of small, shoulder-fired, unguided surface-to-surface artillery, its capabilities have greatly increased since its 2006 war with Israel. Hezbollah fired nearly 4,000 rockets and missiles at Israel in the course of that conflict, and it is estimated that the group had 15,000 total when the war began. That figure indicates that Hezbollah has increased its arsenal tenfold in the nearly 15 years since the end of the 2006 war. The continued growth in both size and complexity of Hezbollah's rocket and missile capabilities poses a broad threat to stability in the region. In addition to threatening major Israeli population centers, Hezbollah has also used their arsenal and expertise to train Houthi rocket forces in Yemen and to prop up their allies in Iraq and Syria. Hezbollah therefore poses not only a major threat to Israel, but is also a destabilizing force which proliferates rocket and missile technology to other Iranian-aligned militias in the region. Hezbollah's rocket and missile capabilities can be divided into four main groups: land attack weapons, anti-tank missiles, anti-air missiles, and anti-ship missiles. The largest of these groups is Hezbollah's land attack weapons. The Katyusha rocket makes up the largest part of Hezbollah's arsenal, with the number of rockets estimated to be in the tens of thousands. Since 2001, Hezbollah has also acquired several truck-mounted, multi-barrel rocket launchers which allow the firing of Katyusha salvos into Israel. However, the effectiveness of Hezbollah's Katyushas against Israel has been reduced since the country deployed its Iron Dome missile defense system in March 2011. Hezbollah also has thousands of Iranian Fajr-1 107mm rockets, which they can fire with a mix of 1960s Chinese Type 63 launchers and cloned Iranian Assad launchers. Another, larger rocket that Hezbollah has potentially thousands of is the truck-mounted 240mm Iranian Falak-1, which Hezbollah is thought to have used in both the 2006 war and the Syrian civil war. In terms of guided missiles, Iran has transferred potentially hundreds of Fateh 110 ballistic missiles to Hezbollah, making the 300-kilometer range missiles the longest ranged weapons in the group's inventory. Hezbollah has two different kinds of anti-ship missiles. The first is the Noor, an Iranian clone of the Chinese C-802 anti-ship cruise missile, which has a range of 120 kilometers. The C-802 was infamously deployed by Hezbollah in the 2006 war when two of the missiles were fired at the Israeli corvette Hanat, which was enforcing a naval blockade of Lebanon. One missile struck the ship, killing 4 Israeli sailors and shocking Western intelligence services who were not aware that Hezbollah had acquired anti-ship capabilities. The other anti-ship missile Hezbollah has is the Russian cruise missile Yakhant, which was delivered to the group by way of Syria in 2013. While some analysts say there is no way Hezbollah could fire the missile without Iranian or Syrian support, with a range of 300 kilometers, the Yakhant is considered to be a significant threat by the Israeli Navy. Anti-tank missiles are incredibly important to Hezbollah, as the war in 2006 proved their tactical importance. The Soviet-era RPG-29 is a common feature of many extremist groups, including Hezbollah. Israel officials point to the RPG-29 as the leading cause of IDF casualties in the 2006 war, when Hezbollah used them against buildings, troop bunkers, and Merkava tanks. Hezbollah also extensively used the Iranian variant of the AT-3 Sagar, called the Rad, during the conflict, destroying dozens of Israeli APCs. Hezbollah's utilization of swarm tactics with man-portable anti-tank weapons poses a tactical challenge to a conventional force in any potential future conflict. Hezbollah's anti-air capabilities are perhaps the least sophisticated part of their arsenal. Their capabilities are limited to man-portable anti-air missiles such as the Masag-1 and 2 from Iran, and Soviet-era anti-aircraft guns such as the Zu-23. While these systems are functionally ineffective against modern fighters, they do force Israeli aircraft to fly at higher altitudes, making precision strike missions more difficult. However, with increasing cooperation between Syria and Russia, the potential for Hezbollah to acquire more advanced anti-air systems remains a concern. Hezbollah maintains a fighting force comparable to many national militaries in the Middle East. Its destructive potential underscores its destabilizing effect both in the region and in Lebanese domestic politics, where it has used assassinations and corruption to maintain its privileged position in the country. Israel and American allies in the Gulf must continue to develop their missile defenses to guard against the threat that is Iran's proxy in Lebanon.